What's going on? I'm going to do a versus kind of review today. I'm going to kind of give an overview of Canon versus Pentax. We've got two different cameras here. This is Canon. If you don't know, they're moving on to mirrorless world. So I'm going to be doing this on DSLRs and kind of comparing their cameras over the past 10 years. And we'll take a look and see what's the differences between these two. Why is this one not selling as well or has sold as well as the Canon? Just kind of looking at the features. So let's put these cameras down and we'll get a quick overview, and then we'll talk about the sensor as well. Alright, let's just do a quick overview, kind of looking at these. You can see they're pretty close to the same size. This is the T1i, one of their first ones, and this is the Pentax K-30. This one came out in 2009. This one came out in 2012. I know you're going to say that's not a fair comparison, but this is what they basically are like throughout. I'll show you that on all the Rebels. And like I said, we're going to compare sensors here in a little bit, and I'll even compare newer cameras than this one. Let's see. So with these Canon ones, the bodies are all the same. If you notice here on the Pentax, the grip's a little bit more in. Now, when I started out, I started using Canon, and this actually fits your hand pretty well. I have normal size hands, but then when I picked up a Pentax, if you know there, you could see how much further it goes in on the grip, and it's just a lot more comfortable. Even though this is comfortable, this is just they took a little bit more attention to detail there, so that's one thing about it. So this is a plastic body. All the Rebels are plastic bodies. Pentax, I've gone over this in my other videos. It has a solid metal chassis and is weather resistant, 100% viewfinder. This does not have any of that. Now let's just talk about the menu and see which one you may like better. The button layout on these is both really good. It's kind of just a preference, but the Pentax, as you notice here, has this dial up here on top for your thumb, where this one does not. One thing that Canon does have that the Pentax doesn't have, it has this sensor right here. I think I saw where Pentax was going to put this on their latest flagship camera. All it does is when you put your nose up to it, dims the screen. So with the Pentax, you'd have to helps if I have a battery in this. Let me grab a battery. Both of the batteries are about the same. As this one may last a little slight bit longer. I don't know what they're rated for, but both of them are good. I had issues with either of them on either of these cameras. So for the screen to dim on the Pentax, you just have to hold down the shutter speed halfway and it dims if your nose is up to the screen. But anyway, that's a feature that's going to be supposedly coming out on the new flagship for Pentax. Let's look at the menu system. Like I said, let's see here, menu. So you could see get a little bit close up here. You see that? Canon has a really nice laid out menu system. Not bad at all. If you compare this to Nikon, I think the Canon does a lot better as far as their menu system. It's laid out real user friendly. No issues with it. And here is the Pentax menu system. And now the menu system on these is going to be the same throughout all their little Rebel series. They're all going to be the same. See, Pentax has a lot more options in here, as you notice, especially under these custom ones. They got 4 pages of custom things, and on here we had a few, but not a ton. So and it's pretty similar on all their cameras there. So for Canon, now let's get into the sensor. So what should you look at when you're looking for the sensor? You could go and compare different images, but there's a technical site that does this for you, and they get down deep and they test out the ISO formats, the color depth. So let's take a look at it. It's the DxO Mark. If you've never checked it out, I'll link the website below. And I'm going to use a different site that's going to pull the information from DxO and some other information in, so we could check that out. All right, DxO Mark. Here it is. You could check out cameras. They have most cameras, if not all cameras on here, so you could check out how they actually scored. And as you saw there, it also has mobile stuff on there as well. So check out that site. But we're using a different site that kind of pulls in the information. You see here, snapsort.com. If you type in any camera and put versus, it's usually on the first page of Google. It will pull something like this one up. So you could see it has a little bit more information, but it does pull in those DxO numbers. As you can see here, the K-30 is their overall score 1. Let's look at the score and we'll kind of break it down so you can see where it does pull in the DxO mark here. And you can see here the K-30 just destroyed this t1i. Now remember I said this was 2009 for the Canon and 2012 for the K-30, so we'll look at some other cameras next. But you can see they do low light performance, color depth, and dynamic ranges. The dynamic range, that's the main things that you want to look at in a sensor, and you can see how well the K-30 performed. Now let's look where the Canon actually won some stuff. Popularity, so that's, I don't know why I put that in there, but like I said, Canon marketing has always been good, so they're going to be more popular than Pentax. I'm not sure why they put that in there as scoring, but anyway. Also down here, lens availability is where they also scored high. Now this is kind of deceptive. I tried to click in there and see, well, 113 lenses, that's quite a bit, but I wanted to see which ones they were pulling out. Another thing about Pentax is that they've used the K-mount since the 70s, so you could go back to the 70s and get all these lenses, and the ones in the 70s will be manual focus, but they're super good quality lenses, which you get for amazingly low prices. When in the film days of Canon, they in the 70s they used the FD mount, so they switched over to an EF mount, so you can't go back and get some of those budget lenses like you can with Pentax. So these numbers are not really correct, but they both have a large amount of lenses. I don't think you're going to have a problem either way with any of those. But anyway, like I said, this was an older camera. Let's go to a newer camera, one that maybe came around 2012. This one is the 70D. Now this one came out in 2013, so it's a whole year newer than the K-30. So you think that they would outperform the lenses at that point. Not only is this this isn't their Rebel series, this is their prosumer line, so it's a step up from that Rebel series, so it should be performing a lot better, right? Right here it's saying they're tied, that's super close, but let's look at the scores and see. Look at that, the K-30 still killing it on with the sensor here. Let's look where this 70D, let me also say the 70D was $1,200 when it came out body only, and when the K-30 came out it was $850 body only, so it's quite a bit more. With this K-70 you will get more of a solid body than you would with that Rebel, any of the T series. So it has a more solid body, but it's not weather resistant. It has some more weather sealing in there, and they don't really come out and say, but it's a more solid body, and it does have some more weather sealing, but it's not weather sealed. They don't advertise it as that. But you could see here where the Canon actually scored better than the Pentax. It's in their focusing here. They've added a bunch more. This is when the war of the focus points came in. If you look at nowadays cameras, they have gazillion focus points, which I kind of find this is one of those gimmicky type things. All you need is a few really good quality focus points, but there's like a battle going on to who can have the most focus points. A lot of photographers, they'll only use that center focus point anyway. They don't move around a lot, but if you are shooting and you find you like that, Canon will kind of win that battle on that point as far as focus points. Looks like they up their screen resolution just a little bit, a few more dots, not too many, same size and everything. They did add a touchscreen, which Pentax has not done that on any of their cameras yet, and so continuous shooting, it's got 1 more frame per second, so it's doing a little bit better there for your for your sports type shooting with focus and a little bit more of continuous shooting frames per second. Now let's go to their Canon's top of the line. I mean, like I said, Pentax is still beating them on sensor here. Top of the line in 2014. This was their last. This is their pro level. The 70 is their pro level crop sensor camera, and they didn't have it on that snap sort, but the Mark II at least. As you can see here, the Pentax still. This is their pro line. This is $1,800 camera versus this was $850 when they originally came out, and Pentax is still beating them on every category here. What's the most important thing that you would like in your camera? Mine is like image quality. A sensor is going to give you the image quality, well, lens as well. But look, check this out. I mean, it's just beats it. Still beats it. And right now, this camera would be probably $1,000–1,200 used, and this K-30 you could get for like $300. And I didn't mention before, but it also has shake reduction, like an image stabilization on the sensor. With Canon, you have to get the lens that has image stabilization, and the lenses that have image stabilization usually cost a little bit more, but it's already built into the camera on the Pentax. So anyway, I just thought I'd show that. A lot of people, when they're looking at a camera, they're just looking at written reviews and whatnot, or going to YouTube like you're doing. But this is a really good, the XO Mark is a very good, just if you want to get down technical and see actually how a sensor performs, this is a good site for that. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and subscribe, and if you want to leave a comment below, tell me why you think Canon might be better. That's fine too. Thanks for watching.